Today, Bitcoin rises for the week as investors shake off September's choppy trading. Former FTX executive Ryan Salem is threatened with sanctions in federal court. And the CEO of crypto miner Core Scientific reveals where the company's AI strategy is headed. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Brandon Gomez. Bitcoin adding to a week of gains this morning as investors stay focused on the macroeconomic environment. And new data out this morning shows the public is more confident about the state of the U.S. economy. Consumer sentiment in September rose to its highest level since May. Meanwhile, inflation expectations for the next 12 months dropped to its lowest level since December of 2020. Now, Bitcoin spiked late morning and by noon Eastern traded above the $59,000 level. ETH also climbed, trading above $2,400, and XRP rose to 57 cents as Grayscale's new XRP trust launches this morning. Now, the investment vehicle could pave the way for an ETF as Grayscale has successfully converted its Bitcoin and Ethereum trusts into ETFs this year. Meanwhile, shares of MicroStrategy stock jumped nearly 7% by midday after its executive chairman, Michael Saylor, announced this morning that the company acquired an additional 18,300 Bitcoin. That brings its total holdings to 244,800 Bitcoin, or about $14.6 billion at today's price. Now, taking a step back to look at crypto's performance this week, like I mentioned, Bitcoin has gained ground. It rose 11.5% in the past 7 days, while Ether notched an 8.2% gain. Now investors turn their attention to next week's Fed meeting when we could see a cut to interest rates. Okay, let's talk about the top stories. Now, former President Donald Trump announced his family crypto project, World Liberty Financial, will launch next Monday. The announcement was shared as a video on X where Trump said, quote, "We're embracing the future with crypto and leaving the slow and outdated big banks behind." We're still waiting to hear more about what this DeFi platform would do, but the company, which has now been promoted by various members of the Trump family, says its mission is to drive the mass adoption of stablecoins and DeFi and maintain global US dollar dominance by spreading a dollar-backed stablecoin across the world. The Trump family has faced some hiccups for this rollout. Just last week, hackers appeared to commandeer the X accounts of Trump's daughter-in-law, Laura Trump, and his youngest daughter, Tiffany Trump. Both accounts promoted a scam that mimicked World Liberty Financial. The week prior, the former president teased a crypto plan that he said would be delivered on the same day, possibly related to this venture, but there was no follow-up. Trump has positioned himself as the pro-crypto candidate in the presidential election with private ventures like World Liberty Financial as well as NFT collections. His campaign has also been accepting crypto contributions since May. Harris has yet to publicly state her views on crypto issues, but is reportedly warming on the topic and is indirectly receiving crypto contributions from the Future Forward PAC. Next, the federal judge overseeing the FTX criminal cases is threatening former executive Ryan Salem with sanctions for lying to the court. Salem, who appeared in court yesterday, admitted to lying during his guilty plea by saying prosecutors did not make promises in exchange for his plea. Now, Salem is admitting that prosecutors assured to end an investigation into his girlfriend, Michelle Bond, if he were to plead guilty. Bond was indicted last month on campaign finance crime allegations. Those charges tied her to unlawful campaign contributions from FTX during her unsuccessful bid for a New York congressional seat in 2022. Yesterday's hearing follows a request from the former executive back in August to walk back his guilty plea, arguing that prosecutors didn't hold up their promise. Ultimately, though, he withdrew that request. Judge Kaplan was visibly annoyed with Salem, saying he induced him to accept the plea last September. The judge said he would take time to think about what should be done, not ruling out the possibility of putting sanctions against him. Judge Kaplan had already sentenced Salem to 7.5 years in prison, more than 5 to 7 years suggested by prosecutors, or the 18 months requested by his defense. Now, Salem's lawyer declined to comment to CNBC after the hearing. All right, let's pivot to mining companies for our main story. This Wednesday, Crypto World's Mackenzie Sigalo spoke with Adam Sullivan, the CEO of Core Scientific, about the company's AI strategy and how he thinks the 2024 election could affect the crypto industry.
Core Scientific stock up 200% this year, and it seems to be this larger trend that a lot of the Bitcoin miners who have diversified into AI and HPC clients are just outperforming the pure play Bitcoin miners. Talk to me about this change in strategy for the company.
Yeah, so it's something that we've been setting up as a company dating back to our founding back in 2017. So our facilities were developed to be multi-use for not only just Bitcoin mining, but also for the transition that we're doing right now to high performance computing. And so this trend is much broader for the entire industry. So you've seen a number of Bitcoin mining companies announce similar type strategy shifts for the business. And it's really about the next 3 years in terms of where the opportunity set truly lies to capture a large portion of the data center market, because we're in the largest trend in data center history. So every big data center company that exists carved out a niche. It just so happens that the niche that Bitcoin miners are carving out now are in the largest niche that has ever been found in the data center industry.
And in terms of the clients that you're working with, we've spoken about the $6.7 billion deal that you have with CoreWeave, a company that's backed by NVIDIA. Where else are you seeing appetite in terms of this new AI HPC customer that you're serving?
Yeah, it's not just CoreWeave that's building out large models. So you think about Microsoft, OpenAI, Amazon, Google, all of these companies are doing significant amounts of investments into this GPU cloud. So it's AI is really fueling the new cloud business, which is the GPU cloud.
And is this where your company is going? I mean, you said that it was always a part, like a fixture of a larger business plan when you launched in 2017. But a lot of people thought of Core in the same breath as being a Bitcoin miner. And it seems like you're really straying away from that. So is it more about becoming AI HPC exclusively, since that appears to be working?
Yeah, we're a digital infrastructure company at heart. So the 800 megawatts that we've been operating, it's allowed us to be the largest Bitcoin mining company for the last 3 years. And now it's allowing us to make this transition into the high performance computing market. So it's a natural transition for the business. And our team is really just a data center company at heart. So that's really where our skill set lies. So attacking this new vertical is very easy for us to handle.
So you guys were the largest Bitcoin miner through bankruptcy as well?
We were, yeah.
Okay. And so I would like to point out, like, you're somewhat new to the company. When did you start?
I started April of 2023.
Okay, so you've been really helping the company navigate its way out of bankruptcy. What are next steps? What do the next few months look like this year in terms of your strategy for Core?
Yeah, so we've outlined our catalyst through the remainder of this year, which is really about identifying and acquiring new sites and then diversifying our client base. So given this is a new business model for the company, we signed our first deal about just under 100 days ago. And it's about finding a more diversified, larger client base so that we can continue to grow and to become one of the largest data center companies in North America.
Which AI clients are you going after?
Some of the largest ones out there.
Any that you can share today?
Not today.
Now, one thing that I want to understand, because I've spent so much time talking to Bitcoin miners, and one of the value propositions that they offer is that, yes, we're using grid power, but we're able to help stabilize a grid, because if you have too many renewables that you're onboarding and you don't have consistent demand for that, we can kind of toggle down that demand when more people need power. Shift it back up overnight when there's just less, need for households to consume electricity. But as you move into serving these AI HPC clients, I would imagine that you can't have that kind of flexible demand buying. So, how has that changed your thought process around the value add that you bring to a grid in a given state that you operate in, whether it's Texas or elsewhere?
Yeah, so our initial locations were all in places that had low cost abundant power. So it wasn't just the renewable aspect to it as well. So we were hyper-focused on finding locations and geographies that were really underserved communities, because that is a place where they used to have significant industrial and manufacturing, but all of that business has left the United States. And so locating at those locations provided us a significant opportunity to grab a large amount of megawatts. And on the Bitcoin mining side, we're still pursuing some acquisitions on the Bitcoin mining side, which mainly targets locations where there's a significant amount of renewables, a significant amount of volatility on the grid. And that's something that Bitcoin miners have been able to solve in local communities, where they can help stabilize power prices and also allow new renewable projects to come online.
Well, across AI, across Bitcoin, there is this universal need for more electricity. That's something that you've been talking with the former president, now GOP, presidential nominee Donald Trump about. It's my understanding you were in closed door meetings with him in Nashville and in Mar-a-Lago, and it seems like one part of his presidential platform that he's been, very strong on is the need for greater, in terms of his energy policy, build out infrastructure, generate more electricity at home to support the AI boom that's happening here, to make this the destination for a lot of the companies that are building out infrastructure to support this growing industry. How do you feel about a potential, President Donald Trump coming into office, and what that might mean for the work that you're doing at Core?
Yeah, so he's been very forward about his thoughts on energy dominance and further energy generation development, which is obviously important not only to our industry, but industrial and manufacturing broadly speaking. And it was great to hear last night in the debate, Harris also said she wanted America to be a leader in artificial intelligence. And so both parties right now have kind of centered around being a forefront leader in artificial intelligence, which is going to require a forward-thinking process on energy policy. And so that's something that we think is very bullish overall for the industry. And it's going to be great tailwinds if either administration comes in right now and provides a significant tailwind to the energy policy in the United States.
Some people within the crypto industry in particular are concerned about Vice President Kamala Harris potentially taking over. If she were to win, there is the worry appears to be that SEC Chair Gensler would remain in place and that a lot of the policies that we've seen under President Joe Biden would persist, that perhaps we wouldn't get the kinds of rules, we meaning what the industry is saying, wouldn't get the kinds of rules that would better police the space in the US. Are you at all, do you share that sentiment? Have you been having conversations behind the scenes with people about what a Harris administration might look like for the crypto industry in particular?
Yeah, we haven't heard too much out of the Harris party yet in terms of what actually their policies are going to be. I think we have a good tailwind here, though, from some of the policies or some of the broad speaking points that she's had around crypto, especially crypto for Harris. There's been a number of different groups that have come out in terms of supporting Kamala. And so our hope is that there's enough voices that are close to her that are feeding her the correct information about Bitcoin and crypto more broadly, that there's not going to be a significant political risk to Bitcoin in the near term. But I think over the long term, we'll be just fine no matter who comes into office.
Okay, that's all for Crypto World this week. We'll be back on Monday. We'll see you then.